After these things, Jesus walked in Galilee, for he did not want to walk in Judea, because the Jews sought to kill him. Now the Jews' feast of tabernacles was at hand. His brothers therefore said to him, "Depart from here, and go into Judea, that your disciples also may see the works that you are doing. For no one does anything in secret while he himself seeks to be openly known. If you do these things, show yourself to the world." For even his brothers did not believe in him. Then Jesus said to them, "My time has not yet come, but your time is always ready. The world cannot hate you, but it hates me because I testify of it that its works are evil. You go up to this feast. I am not yet going up to this feast, for my time has not yet fully come." When he had said these things to them, he remained in Galilee. But when his brothers had gone up, then he also went up to the feast, not openly, but as it were in secret. Then the Jews sought him at the feast and said, "Where is he?" And there was much complaining among the people concerning him. Some said, "He is good." Others said, "No, on the contrary, he deceives the people." However, no one spoke openly of him for fear of the Jews. Now about the middle of the feast, Jesus went up into the temple and taught. And the Jews marveled, saying, "How does this man know letters, having never studied?" Jesus answered them and said, "My doctrine is not mine, but his who sent me. If anyone wills to do his will, he shall know concerning the doctrine whether it is from God or whether I speak on my own authority. He who speaks from himself seeks his own glory, but he who seeks the glory of the one who sent him is true, and no unrighteousness is in him. Did not Moses give you the law? Yet none of you keeps the law. Why do you seek to kill me?" The people answered and said, "You have a demon. Who is seeking to kill you?" Jesus answered and said to them, "I did one work, and you all marvel. Moses therefore gave you circumcision, not that it is from Moses, but from the fathers. And you circumcise a man on the Sabbath. If a man receives circumcision on the Sabbath, so that the law of Moses should not be broken, are you angry with me because I made a man completely well on the Sabbath? Do not judge according to appearances, but judge with righteous judgment." Now some of them from Jerusalem said, "Is this not he who they seek to kill? But look, he speaks boldly, and they say nothing to him. Do the rulers know indeed that this is truly the Christ? However, we know where this man is from, but when the Christ comes, no one knows where he is from." Then Jesus cried out as he taught in the temple, saying, "You both know me, and you know where I am from. And I have not come of myself, but he who sent me is true, whom you do not know. But I know him, for I am from him, and he sent me." Therefore they sought to take him, but no one laid a hand on him, because his hour had not yet come. And many of the people believed in him and said, "When the Christ comes, will he do more signs than these which this man has done?" The Pharisees heard the crowd murmuring these things concerning him. And the Pharisees and the chief priests sent officers to take him. Then Jesus said to them, "I shall be with you a little while longer, and then I go to him who sent me. You will seek me and not find me, and where I am you cannot come." Then the Jews said among themselves, "Where does he intend to go that we shall not find him? Does he intend to go to the dispersion among the Greeks and teach the Greeks? What is this thing that he said, 'You will seek me and not find me, and where I am you cannot come'?" On the last day, that great day of the feast, Jesus stood and cried out, saying, "If anyone thirsts, let him come to me and drink. He who believes in me, as the scripture has said, out of his heart will flow rivers of living water." But this he spoke concerning the Spirit, whom those believing in him would receive. For the Holy Spirit was not yet given, because Jesus was not yet glorified. Okay, I think we can start. It might be a really short thing I say tonight, I'm not sure. I wrote a couple pages that I just decided to skip, but not very important. I'll try to just wing it and not use the notes and see what happens. So I guess the first thing I want to say tonight is that I'm just going to say it, and I hope there's power in it. But you've heard it so many times you might already know it and think, I know. But just try to hear it, you know. So the Christian revelation is, when it hit the planet, it's brand new. There's nothing like it on the planet when it comes. It's something completely new and completely different. It's, even the Jewish people who had it prophesied to them, who had been prepared to bring Christ into the world, didn't know the full import of what was happening with Jesus. It's a big part of why they killed him, because he equated himself with God. And so that was an extreme form of blasphemy. No Jewish person would even say God's name out loud at the time when Jesus was claiming to be God. They, out of reverence, wouldn't even say his name. So there's this profoundly religious culture with deep belief. I mean, they're waiting for the Messiah. They're always checking out the new guru who arrives onto the scene to see if it's going to be the Christ. This is a truly religious people. We could barely relate in this secular culture to that kind of a culture. Because we're just, there's like the religious world and then there's the world. And which do I choose? And for them, there wasn't really much of that. There was just the religious world. And every holiday and their entire culture was built around religion. And so they were profoundly religious, and they're waiting for a Messiah, but they don't expect it to be God incarnate. That's a shock to them. So when Jesus starts saying that he's God, it's just, they can't take it. And the disciples are shocked by it. Everyone's shocked by it. But that's the Christian revelation. The Christian revelation is not that a man became super enlightened and taught a way of life. That's not at all the Christian revelation. The Christian revelation is that God itself, this infinite being that is impossible to see without dying, right? That it's like to see it is to die. And in India, they were teaching at the time the person had to die before you could see God. Like this whole notion of the person being snuffed out entirely in order to come to enlightenment, that's because no person could connect with God without being killed by the power. So their sort of means of doing it was to let the person get snuffed out so there's no one left before you go into union. So there's just this infinity of the Trinity, which they don't know about yet, but this infinity of God. And at the time the Jews believed it was so transcendent you couldn't even really know it, except by steps and steps and steps down of its power. It was so removed you couldn't have a deep personal relationship with it because it's so cosmic, so far away. And Jesus comes down on the planet, gets born through a woman. He's got cousins. He's got family members who don't believe in him, and he hasn't revealed himself yet. And he's God incarnate. And that's the Christian revelation, no less than that. That it is God incarnate. That infinite, transcendent God, that to this day you would probably die if you saw. If you fully experienced his power, it would kill you. As many people can attest to, it's happened to me, it's happened to many people. Creeps up on you at night, and first you're saying, yes, please more, and then pretty soon you're saying, this is it. And then it doesn't stop, and then you're begging it to stop. Begging it to stop. In abject terror, finally, of its, you can't take it. It's just, even though it's love or joy, it gets so intense that the love or joy is going to kill you. And so like there's this chasm that the Jews see between them and God. It based on mysticism, based on experience, that there's not really a way to connect with it. It's just too much. And then that God that's unreachable, that they think can't be connected with, that God becomes a human being and gets born on the planet. I mean, that's just, right now I'm undergoing I don't want to say too much about it because then it'll go away, Every time I talk about anything, it goes away, which is one of the reasons I've quit saying anything. But it's so real, it's more real now than it's ever been to me. It's been really quite profound lately, the reality of this. It's not words, it's not just people's ideas. This is really true. And, our secular culture, we are so divorced from truth that something like this could seem absurd to us. From where I'm standing now, it's amazing to me how upside down we are. That there is even an option in our minds to not do the spiritual path is an infantile kind of insane fantasy. It's not as if there is any choice. It's not like that at all. You can live in an illusion and a lie and never find meaning. Or you can enter the way and come to union with God. Those are the options. There really isn't a secular option. And, I don't know if you guys follow the new atheists, which they're not new now. They've had about 20 years to go around the country telling everyone you're a fool if you believe in God. They've been quite successful. And it's interesting what some of them have said recently, that they thought if they could get everyone to stop believing in God, everyone would be better off. And all the evidence has shown they've been far worse off. That in firing our authentic religion, brought in by authentic spirituality that gives human beings an authentic way to navigate through life, in firing that, we now have the God of political ideology, the God of opinion, the God of narcissistic opinion. You look at how divided we've become. It is absolutely, for sure, 100% because we have lost the thing that united us and that was bringing us, however slowly and haphazardly and clumsily, towards the good. And we fired that as a society. And I just listened to a long thing about the sexual revolution, and don't any women hit me. The pill came out and it promised to divorce women from the consequences of sexuality. And that seemed like a great thing. And actually, if you're in a marriage and you only have so much money and you don't want to have 8 kids, it is a good thing. I'm not saying there's not a place for it. But what it did is women became convinced they could then have lots of casual sex like men. And the pill made that possible for them. And it also made them all miserable. And the statistics are out now. That entire experiment has ruined generations of people. We're finding out all the damage that comes from it. And it's just endless. And no one is happier because of it. In fact, they're more miserable. And so we fire religion. Men think they can now be like, women think they can now be like men. Try not to do that. Like if you're a woman, try to find your own sort of like, what if I get to reinvent life, what do I really want? Because it turned out that it's only a very small percentage of men that are happy doing that. And the majority of men have suffered from it also, for all kinds of reasons I won't go into. And it's left us in a present condition where many young people don't even believe in marriage or committed relationships. They don't even believe in them. We've lost meaning in a profound way. But you could look in 5 other areas of society and see where it has been lost and where we had it all given to us from Christ. Religion is the only thing that was holding us together as a people. Imperfect religion, led by imperfect people. We're them, and enacted and carried out and practiced by imperfect people. But if you wonder why things are falling apart, it's absolutely for sure for one reason only and no other. We have lost spirituality as our core. And I'm not saying we ever had it in a deep way, but we had it more than we have it now. And lots more. And it's the kind, like if you stopped meditating right now and you ditched the path, I'm not saying you ditch this center. I'm saying you ditch spirituality and you ditch God. You would start to lose things you have. You would. You would, if you ever wonder, am I getting for sure much out of this? Sometimes I'm not sure. You'd kind of find out if you started ditching it. And I don't mean me or this path, but I mean spirituality in general. You ditch that, and your life would begin to degrade. It's part of the experiment I've taken, and I hope you're paying attention to, that there's just a power that dwells in your life, and it slowly brings you towards the good. It slowly brings you towards more peace, more integration as a human being, as a personality, definitely more suffering and purification. Definitely more of that. Definitely. But you have to carry your own cross in this world. It is a burden being me. It's tough. It's a tough duty. It's a tough gig. Being a person on the planet isn't so easy. When I was in the New Age, it was easier because I didn't believe my person was real. So I just pushed it away and went into the ethers. And that was more attractive to me than having to take this mess that is me and get it all integrated. That just seems, it's more noble and more beautiful in the long run. But it's like being a balloon floating in the sky and then saying, but you got to carry this weight everywhere. And and it's not my fault necessarily that I'm a mess, but but a lot of it is my fault. And then a lot of it comes from environment and upbringing, and it's just all that thing. And so God takes form on the planet, becomes a human being. It says here there was no power because there was no Holy Spirit. And you think, well, wait a minute. Are you saying no one felt power when they prayed before? Well, we know they did. So then what is it? It's a whole new power. It's a completely different power. And to a different end. And the end for us is deification. There is no other end. If you don't want to do God's will, I just want to say how pathetic it is. It's nicely. Take it easy. How pathetic that is to say, no, I don't want to be a deified human being. No, thank you. I don't want to be filled with light and power, made pure and holy, able to work miracles, and to transform other human beings. To say you don't want that is infantile insanity. It is absolute insanity. And the whole world is under the spell of it. You just got to make your own meaning. There isn't any meaning. You die and it's over. You just make your own meaning. And I found meaning in my... That is insanity. That's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. And all of our problems are rooted from losing that, and the solution to all of humanity is to come back. And if the prophets of Christianity are right, then they will only come back to a mystical Christianity. A purely external Christianity will never suffice again. If the only thing that can be offered to humanity that people will take is a mystical Christianity that provides real transformation and real change, instead of just talking about it, it's a Christianity that is doing it. And aside from that, it won't be enough. It won't be able to compete with the internet, with becoming a cyber person, chips in your brain, super intelligence. There's this world. It's like, I don't want to say this and have it go on YouTube, but I'll say it, but with a million caveats. This world is demonic in the extreme. And don't think there isn't a ton of demonic influence in all of this. It's just to distract. That's what it's for. It's so you can be distracted forever and not find your power and your destiny. So we're offered, this is what Christ offers. Christ offers a way, a tangible way, a tangible person to come into relationship with. And that person is God itself. And it offers along the way that you yourself would become deified, would become one with God by participation in God and share in God's consciousness, God's love, God's power. This is the goal. This is what we're after. Certainly, whatever you are attached to right now cannot be more important than that. It can't be. What could possibly be more important than that in your life? And I want to talk about detachment a little bit, but I don't know how, because I don't know if I'm good at it. But my wife decided that it would be good for Cassidy to have they came out with these really cheap motorcycles. They're mini bikes like we had when I was a kid. Little tires and little frames and little lawnmower engines. They're cheap. She said it would be good for Cassidy to have confidence and learn how to navigate and traverse. And so I said, okay, we'll get them. So then I'm thinking about them just a little bit. Mary might say not so little, just in case she listens. She does listen. But so I'm thinking, okay, I have two options. Either God can make it so I don't think about them at all unless I'm using them or I'm selling them. That's it. There's no freaking way I would have kept them if I couldn't stop thinking about them. There's no way. Because then now I'm thinking about freaking motorcycles instead of God all day. And that is absolutely unacceptable. That's death. So what I want to say, though, is what are you thinking about all day and why? Why? Like, where are you putting your attention? And I'm going to go camping and I'm going to ride these little freaking mini bikes around. And that's fine. It's good for family, But you have to not care at all at the same time. And if you care about it, you have to get where you don't. But that could go for an ideology, a perception of yourself, an activity. It could go for anything in your life. What is consuming your energy? And a big part of the Christian path is just being purified enough so that you can just sit down and only think about God. I get up, I don't have plans for my day. Plans are death to my relationship with God. My plan is to get closer to God in any way I can. That's my plan. And if I've got other plans that are not requirements for my station in life, like, I got to take my daughter to school. Definitely have to clean the house a little. Like, there's some things I've got to do that are just part of my responsibility as a human being in a family. Those things I must do. But anything outside of that, is it taking me closer to God or is it not? And you don't even have to know the answer, really, because sometimes you never know for sure. But you do have to have this. Name one thing in your life you can't say right now, I absolutely give that up for you, and I will right now. And if you can't say that about that thing is your God. That is your God. This is not an occasion for guilt or shame, but it is an occasion for inventory and repentance. If the night does its work, it frees you enough to be free if you want to be free. But if you read Teresa of Avila, she's floating around at stage 6. And then she'll talk about this stage and she'll say, man, I hope I have it. She'll just be like, oh, I don't know, but I sure hope I have that. I think I have it, but maybe I don't. I don't want to leave anyone feeling dejected tonight. But also, no, you've got to go. You actually have to go. There is this ascent, and it requires purification and suffering. It's just part of it. You're always up against where you're being invited to go, and you're not yet. I hope it's okay. Daniel had that joy experience, and then he said for the last year or however long it's been since the joy experience, he's just been shown everything in his life, in his mind and consciousness, that is an enemy to joy. And I'm sure if that were my inventory, then, they'd be busting me for being so serious or so concerned or so whatever. What is the enemy for you to be cosmic? What is in the way of you going straight to God with no reservations at all? For some people, that's family. The love of family can stop you. That's why Jesus said you have to hate mother and father for my sake. Hate them. Now, that's strong language, but he meant it. Obviously, he doesn't want us to hate them, but you hope you see what he's saying. My wife is an idol for me. I'm still divorcing her. I'm just not done. But I have to. I have to leave her to be with her. I have to leave her to go to God. She can't be my God. She can't be more important. and I can't stay here when I'm going there. But I'll just go camping again, and it's the life is the life. It's the detachment. It's where's my heart and mind? Where's that? It You don't have to know what you have to give up. You have to give up everything in your heart and mind. Everything. The form, don't worry, just let it see what happens. Give up everything in your heart and mind. Everything. If you wouldn't sell your home and go live on the streets, if God asked you, then you're in trouble spiritually. That's it. If you can't just feel in your heart right now, absolutely, there's a problem. This is where we're going. They're not going to ask you, but if you can't say it, you're already fighting what has been not asked of you. So it's like, someone was asking me, they got a real job finally. They went to college, got a real job. They got like a 401k, and they're asking me, is it okay that I even care about, like, I'm signing up for the 4? I said, yeah, I would. I mean, if someone offered me a retirement plan, I'm in. Like, I want one. I said, I don't have one. I think you should get one. That sounds good. But you also have to not care about it at all. And you have to mean that. One guy I knew that had it pretty well. He thought he was going to lose his job, and he said, if I lose my job, I'll be homeless. And then he said, and if I get homeless, I'll just meditate. So what? That's it. That's it. And it's not about the things, really. It's not so much about that. It's about the time it takes to go after those things, the thought time it spends thinking about it instead of your path. That's where the time is stolen from you. Jesus says, if anyone wills to do his will, he will see that my teachings are true. Let's sort of paraphrase. Wills to do his will. All we're talking about right now is how can we get your will wanting to do God's will. And it's like, positive, please come, infinite love, infinite miracles, infinite power, a deified body. Come, it's better than anything you know of by millions of miles. Come this way. That's the positive side. And the negative side is, but it's hard to come while you're carrying all that stuff. How about letting some of that go? How about you just let it go? Just let it go. I don't mean sell it. I just mean let it go. Let it go. One motivation. One motivation. One. And all other things could be burned for all you care. All of it. And whether you know it or not, that's a big part of what God's doing in your heart and mind, is freeing you from all this. Clearing you. Clearing your mind. Bringing clarity about what's important and what isn't. It's not like you have to make it happen, but you do have to know that's where you're going and want to go there and try to go there. I just imagine burning it or never doing it again, and then I see if there's resistance in me. If there is, it's my God. That's how I know. That's how I know. It's just that simple. And I'm more attached to people than things. So the biggest one is my wife, is my biggest false god. I'm making progress there, but that's the biggest one. But it could be anything. So Jesus was talking, I'm just going to not look at my notes. Jesus was talking about faith so much lately. We've been talking about faith so much. But let's talk about the will. Let's talk about your will. And where is it? And I have to admit, when they were blissing me out, it was easy to be like thunder. I would have thought I was one of the sons of thunder. I mean, I'd go out in lightning storms hoping to get hit by lightning in case God wanted to hit me by lightning and wake me up. I mean, I was ready to roll, man. I'd yell, I'd make battle cries in the rain. You know, I was one of the sons of thunder right up until they just asked me to do a little bit of inner purification emotionally, and then I became, you know, sons of mice. I mean, like the transformation was so disheartening. I mean, really, just pathetic even. And I think, I don't know if I've met anyone as pathetic as me yet. It was really bad. And you know, I almost quit over whatever, sex, give up sex. Oh, I almost quit the path. You know, almost quit it. And just became so weak and so slow and so pathetic even. But there's salvation for that. If I just said yes, but I suck and I'll go slow, but yes, I could see it happening. Even if I said not yet, but I will, I promise, don't give up on me. I could see it slowly happening. But you know, that stage that many have been in for so long, that's just it's just one stage, you guys. There's also the fire. Jesus, he offers us an embodied enlightenment. An enlightenment where your person is sacred and good, where it's revealed to you the profound beauty of your personhood. An enlightenment where there's not a single person that is worth less than another, all created equal in God, and slowly revealed to us over time as we allow God to take away what we're not, so that what is left is what is true. A union with the infinite cosmic God while you remain that unique sliver of it that you are. That burst of creativity that God shined out of its soul when it made you. And like, that's real. That it's, don't say the real world and then this world. Say the real world and then that world. I think if you get it situated in your head right, you won't feel reluctant to let all that stuff go. Because you kind of might be in a hurry to get to where you're going. You know? The infinite joy of it and the infinite love of it. And a body like Jesus's, where after he resurrected, where people can't recognize him because it's now a trippy body. I mean, I might get in trouble with Christians for saying this, but it's kind of a shapeshifter body. It's a form that can be whatever it needs to be, I guess, when it needs to be it. That's the Christian revelation. That's the revelation Jesus brought that had never been conceived of. The Trinity, never conceived of. God incarnate in this way, never conceived of. And an offering to humanity, a destiny to humanity, never conceived of. It's all brand new.